Hey, welcome. Tonight we're going to talk about storms, fires, and gold. I gave you a little teaser when I was out in the field today. I happened to stumble upon an interesting site. I thought it'd be worthy of explanation when it comes to how storms and fires affect your ability to find gold. So I'm currently broadcasting live on Facebook on the Hunting for Gold. That's Hunting FORGOLD page. We also rebroadcast this stuff onto YouTube, so you can check it out there later or on Facebook later. Welcome, everybody. This is going to be fun. I'm trying some new technology. I hope it works. I'm going to play a little video clip that I captured when I sent you the message earlier, and I'm going to explain as we go. So I'm doing a little audio overlay on part of it, and I hope that I got the levels adjusted right. I probably don't, so bear with me. But if I don't, you can try letting me know in the comments area. You can tell me if you like it and if you have any questions about what you see, and then maybe we can try doing a little dialogue about this live. That'd be kind of fun. So let me take you away. Got a few people. Hey, Bob, welcome, and James. Good to see you guys. This is going, again, and there's Gwen. All right. So the idea here right now is for you to kind of feedback to me. This is Friday. We have a chance to do a little more dialogue than typical, and I'm ready for your questions. So questions below. Let me have them. We also have quite a few people who question me about different locations, and I'm going to be doing that later. We'll be doing our Gold in My State series and continue that on. That's been quite popular. So I've got a number of requests come in, so we have a collection. I probably should put a poster together and show you what we've done and what we haven't done yet. That's a good post. We'll throw that up in the morning or something. For right now, bear with me when I say in the morning, and it could be in the morning, a week from now, because we've been pretty busy here at Hunting for Gold. You guys have been keeping me busy. We have had to troubleshoot a couple of things with some of the offers and how they work, so bear with us on that. If you have problems getting access, please let me know at requestcontacts@huntingfor4gold.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. The other thing, you need to make sure that you have contact information that's accurate, that your email and hopefully your phone is on the order, so that we can contact you and reach out and debug, because sometimes these problems come up with technology, as we all know, and things don't work quite right. What we found in this case was that people had actually been created with two offers, well, two accounts. The problem is the access was in one and the offer was in the other, so that won't work. And so we're in the middle of fixing that with our vendor. I thank you for those who've given me feedback, and please bear with me. We always have our 30-day money-back guarantee on our products. So if you have any problems or you stumble on something, you just get fed up with Prospector Jess, just let me know. We'll take care of you. With that, let's go into tonight's discussion of storms, fires, and gold. I'm going to begin with a video here, and I'd like to know if you can hear it okay. That'll be kind of important as we go along. What I'm looking for out of you is to get me some feedback, because I can't really hear. I can hear what I'm generating here in the way of noise. What we're going to be doing is overlaying my voice live with video capture, which has some babbling brook, roaring cars, etc. noise, as well as there is a chunk of it with me, so I'm going to be quiet during that. So let's go on with that. And there is always a delay, as we've talked about in the past, between what's broadcast and what shows up on the Facebook page, so just bear with me in terms of that lag. So starting with this first page, I wanted to kind of open up with the volley that says, hey, look, when you have fires, there's a situation that develops that's critical for life and limb, but there's also a situation that develops that's of interest to those of us who are prospecting for gold. And that has to do with what happens after the fires and after everything clears out and the rainstorms start in January or February, like right now. And so what you end up with is a situation where a normal flood condition becomes a torrent. So this picture is showing a fire that occurred near where I was living in Newbury Park. The same area burned. This was several years back. The same area burned this year. So, you know, go figure. But that happens in California. In fact, it happens in a lot of areas where there's some interface between rugged wildland and you know, life in the urban areas. And so what happens is as these things barrel down through the canyons, if they cook off enough heat, which they do here in California quite often, they'll actually sear the clays in the soils and cause a kind of damage to the soil that makes the runoff quite rapid. So be aware that when you get into these conditions, that can cause something later that we'll show in the video that is of interest to those of you who are looking for gold and where it might concentrate. So let's start the second video, and in this case I'm going to where I was when I made the video call out to you guys earlier tonight. We had a chance to do a little broadcast. I'm going to do some more experimenting in the field with that, and then once we get that ironed out, we'll kind of maybe do a lot more of those. That'd be fun. So let's take a look. So right now I'm going to go to a video clip. Hey, it's Prospector Jess. Field trip day. I was taking my wife down to the airport today, LAX, and going along Route 1 via Malibu and all that stuff, and ran into some interesting territory that tells a story about the current flooding that's going on here. There's a boulder the size of a house that the California Highway Department is currently trying to figure out how to remove. Probably going to end up blasting it. That's what they've done in the past. That, and then but I just thought I'd send you some pictures showing you the kind of thing I've been talking about all along. Let me flip my camera around the other way. But this is showing you a little bit about what's going on in the flooded terrain we're in. So this is looking in the, you know, out of the parking lot that I stopped at. But basically I went down in and show you some really cool looking undercut terracing and so forth that's going on. You can see where flood. So now I'm going to take over doing the annotation. What we're looking at here is that riverbed that we were looking at from a distance. You can see the water and the way it flows. I'm standing on the inside edge of a bend. Notice how the gravel is built up on both sides. But what is of interest is that the gravel builds up over here, and on the opposite side as I pan, notice the undercut terracing that's starting to happen as the river erodes from over there and brings it to us over here by the helical flow curve. Now that's not happening as much when the water's this low. Notice where the water got to. I'm going to pan again and show you a little bit more. On the opposite bank, you can see the debris we talked about in the last few weeks. Way up on the other side over my head where I'm standing. It's way up there. And look at the size of those branches. It's whole trees that came down. And this is in an area that's actually kind of populated. So this was one raging torrent. Those big boulders and cobbles down the middle, those were probably cut out of the opposite side had they had any gold in that area. That center line and some of this stuff right here on this bank we're looking at would be very interesting. Also, what would be interesting is notice as the water came down and is coming down, it's dropping a lot of silt and sands. That's important for flood gold, and that's likely to be the only kind of gold you'd find in this particular area. So it's important to kind of keep your eye out for how the water moves the gold, and also to watch for these little riffles like that one right there that show a sign of maybe forming a trap. That one's pretty small. What we're looking for is there's one right at my foot. I don't know whether I can pan back to it, but there's one right at my foot in these pictures. There you go. That is starting to actually pile up material behind it, cobbles and gravels. And that starts looking kind of interesting. A lot of it's been buried under silt already as the waters subsided. But notice the waters were much higher than where we are. And when those waters were up there, that sand and silt wasn't there. All there would be is gravel and rocks. And that kind of gives you an idea. Now this is kind of showing the ledge that has been cut since then on the side where all the silt and gravels were settled in. So after the water settled, then the water starts kind of cutting from side to side and creates another kind of riverbed. Each time there's a little bit different change in the channel and where it goes. But notice all the debris down the center line where there's a gravel bar forming. This is all important for you to kind of keep your eyes out where these places where the water slows down Anytime you have a light material settling down, the water has been slowing. Notice behind it, a lot of sand and silt settled out. And so this is all important for understanding where and what we're looking for when we're looking for gold. On this side, I would primarily be looking for flood gold deposits in that sandy area. And then, of course, on the way back, it poured rain, and then these were warnings for 8 miles of rock slides and fun stuff like that. This is a really rugged area. It burned like crazy down just north of Malibu all the way up toward Oxnard. It's one of those areas that from time to time, when it starts burning, it burns up like a bomb. So anyway, that's it for tonight on that part. There we go. That's me. So that's it on what the field trip was about. It was really kind of short, about 4 minutes. The idea there was to give you a feel for when water's flowing, what's it look like, and also what happens when you have fires and floods and how they intertwine to form the conditions that move gold. That's the thing I've been talking about for the last month. We basically have the idea of moving gold, that equals a place to find gold. So once you know the pattern where the fires bake out these areas and then floods move the gold downhill, downstream, we're looking for the places where that's going to trap out. We'll be talking more about that in the future. A bunch of that's covered in the 2020 prospecting report at sourdoughminer.com. So anyway, that's kind of it for tonight. I just wanted to touch bases with you on that. If you have any questions on this topic, you can chime in. You're going to be a little delayed from me, so I might have to wait. We've got Shane, and he's recommended to Tom, and we've got Mike from Kern River Valley, and Curtis says it sounds good. That's great. So the audio came through okay, and my windshield wipers worked. Yay! So it's one of those things where you just never know what you're going to get into down that area. They did have landslides while I was down there. They were having some debris cleanup from slides that apparently happened while I was down in LA, which was only about 2 hours. We had a nice chunk of that atmospheric river moving through from the Pacific, and as it was hitting shore, it was very interesting going down because the water looked really neat and lots of surfers out and all that stuff. It looked a little gloomy, but not stormy. On the way back, it looked like a real storm was hitting the shoreline. And so they were moving boulders and cobbles, and they had narrowed down the highway and all that stuff in the time that I'd gone down and back, changed the way we had to route things. And, that's the way it is. Life on the wild side. Gold Prospector Jess, good prospecting over and out. Thanks for joining us. See you again.